Kinds of Arahants. Of all the different kinds of noble beings, Arya Pugala, and those persons worthy of offerings, Dakinaya Pugala, outlined above, Arahants are supreme. They have completed their training, developed expertise, aseka, finished their spiritual cultivation, bhavita, and reached the goal. Nothing remains for them to do in respect to personal well-being. Instead, they act for others' well-being, for the welfare and happiness of the many folk, out of compassion for the world. There are two kinds of Arahants who can be further subdivided according to their special qualities. 1. Those liberated through wisdom, Panya Vimutta, Arahants who emphasize insight meditation, relying on concentration only to the necessary degree for realizing the destruction of the taints. They do not attain jhanas above the 4th jhana. They do not have the exceptional proficiency of the attainment of cessation, Nirodha Samapatti, or the 5 mundane supreme knowledges, Abhinya. A pure insight practitioners, Sukha Vipassaka, Arahants who exclusively practice Vipassana. They attain jhana at the moment of realizing the path. B. Those liberated through wisdom, Panya Vimutta, who attain one of the first 4 jhanas before practicing insight meditation, leading to arahantship. Pati Sambhida Pata, Arahants who attain the 4 penetrating insights, Pati Sambhida. 1. Atta Pati Sambhida, clear insight into meaning, Atta. 2. Dhamma Pati Sambhida, clear insight into principles, Dhamma. 3. Niruti Pati Sambhida, clear insight into language. 4. Pati Bana Pati Sambhida, discriminating knowledge, being perceptive and sharp-witted. Those liberated in both ways, Udato Bhaga Vimutta, Arahants liberated from the body through the formless attainments and liberated by mind through the noble path. They have 2 moments of liberation, when suppressing the defilements by the power of concentration and jhana, Vikambana, and when uprooting the defilements with wisdom, Samucheda. Ubato Bhaga Vimutta, Arahants who have attained at least one of the formless jhanas, but who have attained neither mundane direct knowledge, Vidya, see below, nor mundane supreme knowledge, Abhinya. B. Te Vidya, Arahants who have attained 3 kinds of direct knowledge, Vidya. 1. Pibeni wa Sanusatiyana, recollection of past lives. 2. Katupapatayana, knowledge of the decease and rebirth of beings according to their karma, equivalent to the divine eye. 3. Asavakayayana, knowledge of the truth resulting in the destruction of the taints, Asava. See Chalabhinya, Arahants with the 6 supreme knowledges, Abhinya. 1. Idi Vida, psychic powers. 2. Dibasota, divine ear. 3. Cheta Pariyana, telepathy. 4. Pubeni wa Sanusati, recollection of past lives. 5. Diba Chaku, divine eye. 6. Asava Kayayana, knowledge resulting in the destruction of the taints, Asava. D. Pati Sambhida Pata, Ubato Bhaga Vimutta, who have attained the 4 penetrating insights, Pati Sambhida. After this subdivision, a list of Arahants look like this. 1. Sukha Vipassaka, pure insight practitioners. 2. Panya Vimuta, those liberated by wisdom apart from Sukha Vipassaka. 3. Ubato Bhaga Vimuta, those liberated both ways. 4. Tevija, those with 3 kinds of direct knowledge. 5. Chala Binya, those with the 6 kinds of supreme knowledge. 6. Patisambhida Patta, those who have attained the 4 penetrating insights. An Arahant who is both a Chala Binya and a Patisambhida Patta is considered perfected in spiritual powers. Distinctions between different levels of noble beings. A. Trainees, Seka and Arahants. Venerable Sariputta said to the Venerable Aniruddha, Friend Aniruddha, it is said, a trainee. In what way, friend, is one a trainee? It is, friend, because one has partly developed the 4 foundations of mindfulness, that one is a trainee. Friend Aniruddha, it is said, one beyond training, one beyond training. In what way, friend, is one beyond training? It is, friend, because one has completely developed the 4 foundations of mindfulness, that one is beyond training. Bhikkhus, I do not say of all bhikkhus that they still have work to do with diligence in regard to the 6 bases for contact, nor do I say of all bhikkhus that they do not have work to do with diligence in regard to the 6 bases for contact. I do not say of those bhikkhus who are Arahants, whose tents are destroyed and are completely liberated through final knowledge, that they still have work to do with diligence in regards to these 6 bases for contact. Why is that? They have done their work with diligence. They are incapable of being negligent. But I say of those bhikkhus who are trainees, who have not attained arahantship, who dwell aspiring for the unsurpassed security from bondage, that they still have work to do with diligence in regard to the 6 bases for contact. Why is that? There are bhikkhus, forms, sounds, etc., cognizable by the eye, ear, etc., that are agreeable and those that are disagreeable. When these forms are experienced, they cannot obsess the mind of a bhikkhu who is heedful. When the mind is not obsessed, tireless energy is aroused, unmuddled mindfulness is established. The body becomes tranquil and untroubled, the mind becomes concentrated and one-pointed. Seeing this fruit of diligence, bhikkhus, I say that those bhikkhus still have work to do with diligence in regard to the 6 bases for contact. Bhikkhus, there is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is a trainee, standing on the plane of a trainee, might understand. I am a trainee, while a bhikkhu who is one beyond training, standing on the plane of one beyond training, might understand. I am one beyond training. Here bhikkhus, a bhikkhu who is a trainee understands as it really is. This is suffering, this is the origin of suffering, this is the cessation of suffering, this is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is a trainee, standing on the plane of a trainee, understands. I am a trainee. Again, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu who is a trainee considers thus: is there outside the Buddha's dispensation another ascetic or Brahmin who teaches a Dhamma so real, so true, so certain, tata, as the Blessed One does? He understands thus: there is no other ascetic or Brahmin outside the Buddha's dispensation who teaches a Dhamma so real, so true, so certain, as the Blessed One does. This too is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is a trainee, standing on the plane of a trainee, understands, I am a trainee. Again, a bhikkhu who is a trainee understands the 5 spiritual faculties: the faculty of faith, the faculty of energy, the faculty of mindfulness, the faculty of concentration, the faculty of wisdom. He does not yet dwell, having contacted with the mental body, their destination, their culmination, their fruit, their final goal, yet he sees with penetrative wisdom. This too is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is a trainee, standing on the plane of a trainee, understands, I am a trainee. Here, a bhikkhu who is one beyond training, understands the 5 spiritual faculties: the faculty of faith, the faculty of wisdom. He dwells, having contacted with the mental body, their destination, their culmination, their fruit, their final goal, and he sees with penetrative wisdom. This is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is one beyond training, standing on the plane of one beyond training, understands, I am one beyond training. Again, a bhikkhu who is one beyond training understands the 6 faculties: the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, the tongue faculty, the body faculty, the mind faculty. He understands these faculties will cease completely and totally without remainder, and no other 6 faculties will arise anywhere in any way. This too is a method by means of which a bhikkhu who is one beyond training, standing on the plane of one beyond training, understands, I am one beyond training. Sariputta, a person sees as it really is with correct wisdom. This has come to be. Having seen thus, one is practicing for the purpose of disenchantment and dispassion towards what has come to be, for its cessation. One sees as it really is with correct wisdom. Its origination occurs with that as nutriment. Having seen thus, one is practicing for the purpose of disenchantment and dispassion towards its origination through nutriment for its cessation. One sees as it really is with correct wisdom, with the cessation of that nutriment. What has come to be is subject to cessation. Having seen thus, one is practicing for the purpose of disenchantment and dispassion towards what is subject to cessation for its cessation. It is in such a way that one is a trainee. Sariputta, how has one fully examined the Dhamma? A person sees it as it really is with correct wisdom. This has come to be. Having seen thus, through disenchantment and dispassion towards what has come to be, through its cessation, one is liberated by non-clinging. One sees as it really is with correct wisdom. Its origination occurs with that as nutriment. Having seen thus, through disenchantment and dispassion towards what has come to be, through its cessation, one is liberated by non-clinging. One sees as it really is with correct wisdom, with the cessation of that nutriment. What has come to be is subject to cessation. Having seen thus, through disenchantment and dispassion towards what has come to be, through its cessation, one is liberated by non-clinging. It is in such a way that one has fully examined the Dhamma, and what Mahanama is a trainee's wisdom. A monk in this Dhamma and discipline understands as it truly is. This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering. This is the cessation of suffering. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is the trainee's wisdom. Now, Mahanama, that noble disciple endowed with morality, concentration, and wisdom, by realizing for himself with direct knowledge, here and now, enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom that are taintless with the destruction of the taints. B. Those practicing for stream entry and stream enterers. Monks. The eye is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The ear, the nose, the mind. The 12 sense spheres. The 6 forms of consciousness. The 6 contacts. The 6 feelings. The 6 perceptions. The 6 volitions. The 6 forms of craving. The 6 elements. The 5 aggregates. Is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. One who places faith in these teachings and resolves on them thus is called a faith follower. One who has entered the fixed course of rightness, entered the plane of superior persons, transcended the plane of the worldlings. He is incapable of doing any deed by reason of which he might be reborn in hell, in the animal realm, or in the domain of ghosts. He is incapable of passing away without having realized the fruit of stream entry. One for whom these teachings are accepted, thus after being pondered to a sufficient degree with wisdom, is called a Dhamma follower. One who has entered the fixed course of rightness, he is incapable of passing away without having realized the fruit of stream entry. One who knows and sees these teachings thus is called a stream enterer, no longer bound to the netherworld, fixed in destiny, with enlightenment as his destination. C. Stream enterers and Arahants. When bhikkhus, a noble disciple, understands as they really are the origin and the passing away, the gratification, the danger, and the escape in the case of these 5 aggregates subject to clinging, then he is called a noble disciple who is a stream enterer, no longer bound to the netherworld, fixed in destiny, with enlightenment as his destination. When bhikkhus, having understood as they really are the origin and the passing away, the gratification, the danger, and the escape in the case of these 5 aggregates subject to clinging, the bhikkhu is liberated by non-clinging. Then he is called a bhikkhu who is an arahant, one whose tents are destroyed, who has lived the holy life, done what had to be done, laid down the burden, reached his own goal, utterly destroyed the fetters of existence, one completely liberated through final knowledge. Agi Vaisana. In what way is a disciple of the recluse Gautama, one who carries out his instruction, who responds to his advice, who is crossed beyond doubt, become free from perplexity, gained intrepidity, and become independent of others in the teacher's dispensation? The Buddha. Here, Agi Vaisana, any kind of material form, feeling, perception, volitional formation, consciousness, whatever, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, far or near, a disciple of mine sees all material form, feeling, etc., as it actually is with proper wisdom thus: this is not mine, I am, this I am not, this is not myself. It is in this way that a disciple of mine is one who carries out my instruction, who responds to my advice, who has crossed beyond doubt, become free from perplexity, gained intrepidity, and become independent of others in the teacher's dispensation. Agi Vaisana, Master Gautama, in what way is a bhikkhu an arahant with tents destroyed, and is completely liberated through final knowledge? The Buddha. Here, Agi Vaisana, any kind of material form, feeling, etc., whatever a bhikkhu has seen all material form, feeling, etc., as it actually is with proper wisdom thus: this is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself, and through not clinging he is liberated. It is in this way that a bhikkhu is an arahant with tents destroyed, and is completely liberated through final knowledge. D. Non-returners and Arahants. Venerable Narada, friend Sawita, apart from faith, apart from personal preference, apart from oral tradition, apart from reasoned reflection, apart from conforming to a personal opinion. I know this, I see this. With the cessation of birth comes cessation of aging and death. With the cessation of ignorance comes cessation of volitional formations. I know this, I see this. Nibbana is the cessation of existence. Venerable Sawita, then the Venerable Narada, is an Arahant, one whose taints are destroyed. Narada, friend, though I have clearly seen as it really is with correct wisdom, Nibbana is the cessation of existence. I am not an Arahant, one whose taints are destroyed. Suppose, friends, there was a well along a desert road, but it had neither a rope nor a bucket. Then a man would come along oppressed and afflicted by the heat, tired, parched and thirsty. He would look down into the well, and the knowledge would occur to him, there is water, but he would not be able to make bodily contact with it. So too, friend, though I have clearly seen as it really is with correct wisdom, Nibbana is the cessation of existence. I am not an Arahant, one whose taints are destroyed. Venerable Kemaka, among these five aggregates subject to clinging, I do not regard anything as self or as belonging to self. Elder Bhikkhus, if the Venerable Kemaka does not regard anything among these five aggregates subject to clinging as self or as belonging to self, then he is an Arahant, one whose taints are destroyed. Kemaka, I do not regard anything among these five aggregates Kemaka, I do not regard anything among these five aggregates subject to clinging as self or as belonging to self. Yet I am not an Arahant, one whose taints are destroyed. Friends, I still experience the notion I am in me in relation to these five aggregates subject to clinging, but I do not regard anything among them as this I am. Venerable Dasaka, when you speak of this I am, what is it that you speak of as I am? Do you speak of form as I am, or do you speak of I am apart from form? Do you speak of feeling, of perception, of volitional formations, of consciousness as I am, or do you speak of I am apart from consciousness? When you speak of this I am, friend Kemaka, what is it that you speak of as I am? Kemaka, I do not speak of form as I am, nor do I speak of I am apart from form. I do not speak of feeling as I am, nor of perception as I am, nor of volitional formations as I am, nor of consciousness as I am, nor do I speak of I am apart from consciousness. Friend, although I still experience the notion I am in me in relation to these five aggregates subject to clinging, I do not regard anything among them as this I am. Suppose, friend, there is the scent of a blue, red, or white lotus. One would be speaking rightly if one would say the scent belongs to the petals, or the scent belongs to the colour, or the scent belongs to the pistils. Tasaka, no, friend. Kemaka, and how, friends, should one answer if one is to answer rightly? Tasaka, answering rightly, one should answer, the scent belongs to the flower. Kemaka, so too, friends, I do not speak of form as I am, nor do I speak of I am apart from form, nor do I speak of I am apart from consciousness. Friend, although I still experience the notion I am in me in relation to these five aggregates subject to clinging, I do not regard anything among them as this I am. Friends, even though a noble disciple has abandoned the five lower fetters, still, in relation to the five aggregates subject to clinging, There lingers in him a residual conceit, I am, a desire, I am, an underlying tendency, I am, that has not yet been uprooted. Sometime later he dwells, contemplating rise and fall in the five aggregates, subject to clinging. Such is form, such is origin, such is its passing away, such is feeling, such is perception, such are volitional formations, such is consciousness, such its origin, such its passing away. As he dwells thus, contemplating rise and fall in the five aggregates, subject to clinging, the residual conceit, I am, the desire, I am, the underlying tendency, I am, that had not yet been uprooted, this comes to be uprooted. Suppose, friends, a cloth has become soiled and stained, and its owners give it to a laundryman. The laundryman would scour it evenly with a cleaning salt, lye, or cow dung, and rinse it in clean water. Even though that cloth would become pure and clean, it would still retain a residual smell of cleaning salt, lye, or cow dung that had not yet vanished. The laundryman would then give it back to the owners. The owners would put it in a sweet-scented casket, and the residual smell of cleaning salt, lye, or cow dung that had not yet vanished would vanish. So too, friends, the residual conceit comes to be uprooted. E. Arahants liberated by wisdom, and Arahants liberated both ways. Ananda. Insofar as a monk, having known as they really are, these 7 stations of consciousness and these 2 spheres, their origin and cessation, their gratification, their danger and their escape, that monk Ananda is liberated by non-clinging, and is one who is liberated by wisdom. Ananda, when a monk attains these 8 liberations, vimokkha, in forward order, in reverse order, and in forward and reverse order, entering them and emerging from them as and when, and for as long as he wishes, and by realizing for himself with direct knowledge, here and now, enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind, the deliverance by wisdom that are taintless with the destruction of the taints, that monk is called one liberated both ways. F. The Buddha and those liberated by wisdom. Bhikkhus, the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one, is liberated by disenchantment, by dispassion, by cessation, by non-clinging towards form, feeling, perception, volitional formations, consciousness, and is therefore called a perfectly enlightened one. So too a bhikkhu liberated by wisdom is liberated by disenchantment, by dispassion, by cessation, by non-clinging towards form, feeling, perception of volitional formations, consciousness, and is therefore called one liberated by wisdom. Therein, bhikkhus, what is the distinction, what is the disparity, what is the difference between the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one, and a bhikkhu liberated by wisdom? The Tathagata, bhikkhus, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one, is the originator of the path as yet unarisen, the producer of the path as yet unproduced, the declarer of the path as yet undeclared. He is the knower of the path, the one adept in the path, the one skilled in the path, and his disciples now dwell following that path and become joined with it afterwards. This, bhikkhus, is the difference between the Tathagata, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one, and a bhikkhu liberated by wisdom.